You're welcome. Jason Maestros, are you filling in for Tom Lewis? Okay, just wanted to make sure. I didn't see what you typed in there. Why don't we wait just a couple more minutes and see if anybody else shows up. It's only 1 minute after. Yes, I will give you that. Okay, everyone. Once again, good morning. I hope everybody's doing wonderful today. I just wanted to introduce Mr. Jason Maestros. He's from the ASC lab, and he's going to be giving us a little rundown of the services that are available. We're going to start the class today with that presentation. Jason, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Professor Leiss. I'm Jason Masters from the Academic Support Center. Yeah, thank you. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just checking. I appreciate it. So just before I jump in, I'm just curious if any of you have either been to the Academic Support Center before in person or virtually to our online ASC, please just hit the raise hand icon if you've been to see us before. Okay. So a few of you have. You can go ahead and hit the icon again to lower your hands. Thank you for chiming in. So most of you have not heard of the Academic Support Center, and I just want to tell all of you, whether you've been to see us before or you've never heard of us, what we do and how it can benefit you in all your courses, but specifically in this class here today. The Academic Support Center, as the name suggests, we provide support through tutors for English, for mathematics, and for the sciences. And we previously did this face-to-face. Since the pandemic and the lockdown, we moved to an entirely virtual format, which is actually really beneficial because it's very easy to get to us. You don't have to drive to a physical location. And actually, I'm going to show you this morning how you, just with a few mouse clicks and an internet connection, you can get all the tutoring assistance you may be looking for in any of those areas I mentioned, in math, science, but also, especially for our purposes here today, for your writing assignments. So the first place we can start in order to reach the Academic Support Center online is just by going to this website, which I think most everyone here has probably already seen, irsc.edu, the college's main website. From here, it's very easy to get to us. There's a search icon, a search bar, and if you just type in the acronym ASC, or if you can't remember it, but you remember you're looking, you can type in tutoring, and it will also get you to us as well. If you search for it, this is what you'll see. You'll see the featured result. The very first one that will return is always going to be the Academic Support Center. So that's a link that will take you directly to us. Another way that you can go, if you don't want to bother with searching from the homepage, you can go to Students, then Support, and then another link to the Academic Support Center. Also, when you're logging into Blackboard, I don't have a slide for it here, but when you're logging into Blackboard so that you can get to your various classes, on the landing page, the first page that you see under Resources, there's also a link to the ASC. And of course, ASC being Academic Support Center. So if you follow any of these links, what are you going to find? Well, this is what our homepage looks like. What we've done is put all of our virtual tutoring services right on the homepage. So once you reach us, you really, all you have to do is scroll down to find what you're looking for. You don't have to go to any other pages or look in any other parts of the site. So if we just scroll down a little bit, we find all of these major subject areas for which we provide support and for which tutors are available, live tutors who can chat with you and talk about your assignments. So, you know, if you were looking for help with math or chemistry or biology, you could follow one of these links. But of course, we're looking here today especially at English and writing assistance. So focus on those. And if we click on one of those links that you see here, Ask Us English or Ask Us Math, Science, and Writing, it's going to take us down to this section of the page. And we offer two ways of getting support with your writing assignments. If you're looking to chat with a tutor live and in real time in a Collaborate room, just like this classroom, you can go to one of these links under Virtual Tutoring for English. And as you can see, there's a schedule showing you for each day of the week who's on duty what times. Now, offerings are pretty limited now, but as the semester gets busier, we hope we can offer more availability. So you can go into one of these rooms and chat with a tutor. You can do screen sharing so that you can share your assignment so they can see exactly what you're working on. Or if you have a paper that you're working on, you know, you can share that with them. They can look at it and they can give you immediate feedback. So they can answer questions about grammar and syntax, usage, your, you know, if you have something specific, if you're having trouble, you know, you're having trouble with comma splices or subject-verb agreement, or maybe it's about the assignment itself. You know, maybe you're writing an argumentative paper and you're not certain whether it's really argumentative. Maybe you're writing something more like contrasting and comparison, and you're having trouble understanding the difference. That's a great question for one of the ASC tutors. What we always recommend, though, is that when you go ask a question, have your assignments from your instructors handy so that you can share it with the tutor, because then they can give you feedback based on your assignment, which is really important. Okay, so always be sure to share that with them. So this is a great way. Usually our tutors have their camera on so you can see them, you can hear them, you can chat with them in real time, and you can get really quick feedback for your questions. Now, if you want more systematic, thorough help with an entire writing assignment, you may want to look at the second option that you see circled right here, Ask Us. It's a little clipped off at the bottom of the page, but there is an entry for Ask Us Writing in English. And if we follow that link, it's going to bring us to a page that looks just like this. Through this form, if you fill it out and attach your assignment that you're working on, you can submit a draft of your paper at whatever stage it's in, whether you're in the planning stages and it's really, really rough, maybe it's just some basic ideas, and you're looking for some help developing those ideas, or maybe it's nearly finished and you just kind of want a second set of eyes to look at it to see if you're on task with your assignment and if there are any major types of problems that need attention. Wherever you are in the process, the writing process, if you share your assignment through this link by providing your name, some contact information, and again, very importantly, some information about the assignment. What we usually recommend is you just copy the assignment directions into a box provided. You attach your work, your draft of your paper, and you send it to you hit send. It will go to one of our Writing Center tutors who will review it. We promise to get it back to you in 48 hours. Oftentimes we get it back a lot faster than that. That's the maximum time you'll wait, but we try to get it back the same day wherever we can. And what's going to happen is that you're going to have an emailed response from the tutor in which they're going to provide you with extensive notes on how you're doing with the paper, with the assignment, what needs attention. If there are problems, of course, they don't proofread. They're not going to fix the problems for you. They want you to understand how to fix those yourself. So they'll give you an example or two, explain to you the principle, and then you can go in and do the other corrections that need to be done. But usually students find that it's easy to do that given the feedback that's provided. So this is a great way to get really extensive help, and oftentimes students who use it come back again and again. We provide help not just for English classes, but any class that you have a writing assignment in. You can feel free to use our Writing Center and this forum to get assistance with your assignments. So this is all available free of charge. We even have tutors available who will look at papers over the weekend. So please feel free to use these services anytime they may be useful. Lastly, I just want to provide you with some contact information. This is me, Jason Mastros. I'm the learning facilitator at the ASC. If you want to jot down my number, 462-7577, my email, jasonmastros@irsc.edu. You can always reach out to me if you have any problems accessing the ASC or you just have some questions about using it. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to assist in any way I can. So before I turn proceedings back over to your instructor, do any of you have questions about the Academic Support Center and how we can serve you? Well, it's been great talking with all of you this morning, and thank you for your time and attention. So I will turn things back over to Professor Zeiss. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And I just want to give a pitch. I don't know if this is actually a pitch for the ASC so much as it is a pitch for my students themselves, a personal pitch for taking care of yourselves. I want to describe a situation to you where I was going to Broward Community College a very long time ago, before fire was invented, and I was going to the ASC lab all the time because I was trying, when I first got into college, to really make a good start for myself, and I found that the courses were much harder than they were in high school, and I didn't go to college immediately after high school, so I needed that extra help. And as many of you, I was looking for a way to pay for college, being that I paid for it myself. And anything that was offered to me that was free, such as the services of these wonderful tutors at the ASC lab, I was all for it. So I used to go to the ASC lab all the time, and eventually ended up getting a job there because I was there trying to get services all the time, and I ended up doing well enough in my classes. I mean, I even met my husband there, who was my calculus tutor and tutored me all through calculus, and just met a bunch of people that were involved in Phi Theta Kappa. Of course, you go to the ASC lab, you're around people who really care about their grades. They care about their success. And I just want to point out to you, nothing could derail your path to success quicker than understanding, hey, I have a problem. I have a problem with the material that's being taught in this class, and then doing nothing about it. And in most of your classes, you're going to have a flag that tells you, hey, I need help. You'll either be struggling with the homework, or you'll be doing activities in class, such as the ones we do here, and getting consistently low grades on it. Act on those things. Do it for yourself. Do it for your success. Okay, that's my little pitch, and just a really true story. I mean, I feel like I owe a lot to the ASC lab. Thank you, Jason. You're welcome. Okay, so we are going to get started with section 1.7. And before I get started, like I usually do, I would like to see if there's any questions that you have for me. You know that your test is coming up soon and that your portfolios will be due by the last day of that testing window. The test opens on 9/17, which is a Thursday, and then it closes on 9/20, the usual closing time at midnight. When you do your portfolios, because there's one or two of you that are confused about this, you need to do all three of them on that nice, beautiful template that's been prepared for you. You'll be using tabs 1.2, 1.4, and 1.5, just as the Dropbox says, where you're going to turn your assignment in, 1.2, 1.4, 1.5. You will do all three and turn it in one time when all three are due. Please do not turn them in one at a time, or you're going to chew up the three opportunities that you were given to raise your grade. Those three opportunities are not so that you can turn them in individually. It's so that I can grade all three at once, you receive it back, and if there's anything you need to fix, you turn it in a second time. So please use those three opportunities as they were intended. Does anybody have any questions for me? Lewis, you have a question?
Oh no, sorry. I had my hand raised after he left. Still, sorry.
Oh, okay. So you don't have a question?
Well, I kind of do have a question, but it's not related to this. If that's okay with you.
You can ask what you want, unless it's something personal that you want to ask later.
No, it's not personal.
Okay. Well, do you want to say it now?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
at the moment something came up and I kind of have to go like right now.
Oh,
So I don't know if I'll be counted as absent if I leave right now.
yeah, that's okay. Just you have to go do what you have to go do. We're going to do um, lesson 1.7, and we're also going to do an activity. The activities can't be made up, but you can not really worry about it because I dropped the two lowest grades at the end. So just, you have to try not to miss class when you can, but if you have something to do, go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to switch over to camera. Now, I have made all of you presenters because when we get done with 1.7, we're going to go into breakout rooms. And I would really love it. I'm going to pop in on each of your individual breakout rooms where you'll be in groups of 4 or 5 and you'll be helping each other. And because I've made each of you a presenter, you can talk to each other. You can show each other your screen. There is a whiteboard that you could use. I don't know how easy it is to write on that whiteboard. I kind of have it easier than you because I have an actual document camera connected to my computer because I always have a hard time writing on those whiteboards, but you might have better handwriting than I do. So you can try writing on something, but it's also nice just to verbally describe to the people in your group what you're doing, and because you're a presenter, how you're working a problem, you'll be able to hear each other. What I would prefer not to see is people in the chat box just saying, hey, the answer to such and such is this. You're defeating the whole purpose. The whole reason for these activities is so that you can do well on the test, because the kind of problems that you're seeing on the activities are similar to what you're going to see on the test, and they are what you see on in the book as well as in Alex, those concepts right there. So if all you're doing is getting the answer from somebody rather than just saying, hey, how do you do it? And you can even say to me while you're doing the end of class activity, because I'm listening, or you can type it into the chat box and I'll hear that little beeping noise and go read it. You can ask me how to do a problem and I'll present it right here under on the doc cam. So I want you to help each other. I just don't want it to go to the point where you're just, saying what's the answer instead of how do you get the answer, because that is non-productive as far as raising your grade and your ability level. Okay, so let's see. Today we're doing 1.7. Let me go over to the DocCam. It's going to be on scientific notation. So if you did print the pages of the lessons note packet where I have the notes from, that's where I'm going to be doing some problems for you. Let me switch over. Try and share my camera. Hopefully that works. Yes. Okay. All right, let me try and show it a little bit better. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about in this section is scientific notation. And scientific notation is all about numbers that are written with a base of 10, and then they have an exponent on them. So we're going to start with a little understanding or a little bit of a review regarding what a base is, what an exponent is, and what a coefficient is. So as you're seeing right here, I've already labeled it for you. I mean, that's the whole intention of this notes packet, that most of the stuff is written for you already. And then the space is just for you to put your personal thoughts or notes and to fill in any problems that need to be completed. So anyway, I'm pointing out to you that this number right here, the coefficient is the number in front, so you could just fill that in right there. The base is the number that's being repeated. In other words, the number that's being raised to a power. So this would be the base. So the 10 is the exponent, and that means you're going to see that x 10 times in the form of a product. So I've expanded it for you right here. Coefficient, this is the base, the x, and the number of times you see it repeated was the exponent. Okay, moving to properties of exponents. In case you've never seen this, I think most of you probably have, but with regard to exponential expressions, we're going to either be multiplying them or dividing them. So one of the rules, you have to know those rules so that we can do some of the problems on the following page. When you're multiplying anything with exponents, first of all, the bases have to be the same. In order for you to use the multiplication property or to use the division property. These are properties for exponents. You're going to add the exponents when multiplying. Here is an example right here. Notice that the bases, these are the bases, notice that they're the same. So you keep the base as is, don't change it, and then you add the exponents. So that's your answer. In exponential notation is 10 to the 53rd power. See, we have to learn how to put things in exponential notation, because otherwise many of the numbers that we work with, if they're very large numbers, as this is, they don't fit into your calculator window. So you need a shorthand way of writing them, a condensed version, and that would be exponential notation. There is another rule that you're going to be using in some of your calculations, and that would be the division property for exponential expressions. Again, you have to have bases the same in order to use either one of these properties. And in this case, you're going to subtract the exponents only when you're being asked to do division. So look at how the problem starts. It'll either start off by suggesting multiplication, or it'll start off suggesting division. So if it's division, keep the bases the same, and then you're going to subtract the exponents. And you have to go in this order. It has to be top minus bottom. Okay, don't switch that order. Grab this one first, then the bottom one. So this becomes 10 to the 9th, and you can leave it in exponential form. Okay, let's go to some of these, which you can just put into your calculator. You don't have to expand those, so let's practice doing it on the calculator. I was showing you that on my calculator the other day, that when I want to raise, we've talked about the power key because we needed to when we were doing compound interest. That formula had an exponent in it. And I was showing you that on my calculator, I use this key right here. This little upward, looks like a little upward arrow. That's called the caret key. And even some of the TI that are 30 range, TI 30 series, some of those have the caret key for a power. If you don't have this, you can also use a key that either says X raised up to a power of Y, or Y raised up to a power of X. In any event, regardless of which key it is, that key gets hit in the middle. You feed in the base first, like for instance, if I wanted to do 10 squared, and I'm going to show you two different ways to enter this. I could go 10, hit that caret key, and then put the power on it. And see how you get 100? Now, anything that has a base of 10, you can also put it in using your exponential key. Now on my calculator, it's this little key right here. Let me push this up a little bit. So in the second column, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this key right here, see how it has a double E right there? That means exponential notation. And it's in a different color, like an orangish yellow. So you have to hit that key first. So if you want to get the 100, if you want to do 10 squared the way I'm going to do it now, you just press second function E to get that little E symbol. That means 10 raised to. That's what that E means. 10 raised to some power, and you're about to tell it the power. You don't need the caret key because that's part of this E symbol, and then you press in the 2. See? And you get 100. So, two different ways to do exponential expressions when the base is a 10. You can only use the E key, the EE key, when the base is 10. Whereas this caret key is very versatile. You can use it for any base. Okay, EE key only for base of 10. So this would be 100. If you want to do 10 to the third, I'll demonstrate again. You can either do 10, caret key 3. I'm doing the next one. Or you can do, grab that E symbol by pushing second function EE on my calculator and then feeding in the power, and you get the same answer either way. So one of those ways is fine. 10 to the negative 1. Now anything that has a negative power means that it's going to be a number less than 1. So 10 to the negative power or 10 to the negative third power. Those are going to be decimals, decimal numbers less than 1. So 10 raised up to a negative 1. That gives you 0.1. And you can put the 0 in front of it if you want, or not. And 10 to the negative third will be 0.001. See this number that you're seeing right here in the power? That means the number 1 is going to be one place after the decimal. This means that the number 1 is going to be in the third place after the decimal, and everything in front of it will be zeros. But no need to memorize that. You can do it in your calculator. Okay, moving to the next page of the lesson notes. We have numbers that are considered to be in standard notation, and we're going to be putting them in scientific notation in these first two examples. Then we're going to go the opposite direction. You'll be given the numbers in scientific notation, and then you're going to go back to standard form. Standard form is when you don't see a base of 10 or an exponent. See, these numbers have no base of 10. There's no exponent there, but you're going to get them like that. See, the scientific has base of 10, exponent, and a coefficient. So the rule for this is whether the number is a really big number as what you're seeing here or a really tiny number. You're always going to move the decimal. I'm going to abbreviate. Move the decimal. Now this will be for this and this. They're in standard form. You're trying to get them in scientific notation until there is only one non-zero type number. It can't be a zero. One non-zero number to the left of the decimal. And you'll be attempting to do the same thing in this problem and this problem. Okay, so when you don't see a decimal at all, that means that the decimal is all the way on the right side of the number. Now you're going to keep moving it until there's only one non-zero number to the left of the decimal. Right now we have two numbers that are not zeros. So now start moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to get it right in there, to move that decimal right in between the 7 and the 3. And because the number is greater than 1, that means your power is going to be positive. What is the power? The number of spaces that you just moved. So this is going to be times 10 to the positive 5. You probably want to put in your notes that if the original number you started with, I'm going to use some symbols here so that I don't have to write such a long sentence. If the original number is greater than 1, that means your exponent will be positive. Okay, so when you're in scientific, your base will be 10. This again, let's review what was on the first page of the lesson notes. This is the coefficient, this is the base, this is the exponent. Okay, just like what I asked you to do here, in order to get it into scientific notation, you're going to do the same thing here. You're going to move the decimal until there is one number to the left of the decimal that is not a zero. Okay, so now we're going to have to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. You're going to move the decimal right in there. So it'll be 1.04. And when you move it like that, there's the number 1 on the left side. Notice that there's only one number to the left that is not a zero. Same thing here, only one number to the left that is not a zero. Your job is to move the decimal until you achieve that. Times 10, and then I moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. But because this number was less than 1, the exponent is negative. So maybe put that right here, that if the original number is less than 1, whenever you have no numbers over here other than zeros, the number is less than 1. So when the original number is less than 1, that means your exponent is going to be negative. Okay, moving in the other direction. Now we're going to move from scientific notation back to standard form. Now we're going to get it out of this notation that has a base of 10 and an exponent. Okay, so again, you want to be aware of these little notes that I gave you right here. When the original number is greater than 1, the exponent is positive. That would be this case right here. when the original number is less than 1, then the exponent is negative. So you can tell what kind of numbers you're going for. Here you're going to be going for a number that's less than 1, negative exponent. Here you're going to be going for a number that's greater than 1. So that kind of guides you so that you don't accidentally move the decimal in the wrong direction. Okay, so what you want to do is go grab the coefficient, get your head on straight about which way you're going to move it. But if this is, and I should have moved this over because I'm going to be moving to the left. Let me move this over just a little bit. Put it right here. So if that exponent is negative, because it's negative, that means the original number has to be less than 1. The only way you can make this number less than 1, and it presently is not, is to move it this way. And notice that the exponent was 7, so you're going to move that decimal 7 times. Move decimal 7 spaces. So I moved it once to get around the 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Your decimal is now here, and all of these get replaced. These empty spots get replaced by 0, or filled in with zeros, however you want to say it. Okay, so if you want to just clean up your answer, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The decimal is no longer there, it's over here. And that is your standard form of this scientific notation number. For this one, notice that you have an exponent of 8. That means you're going to move the decimal 8 spaces. Also notice that that exponent is positive. So that means that the original number is greater than 1. It's a big number when it's positive. So we're going to take the coefficient, which is 3.4. That's called the coefficient, and we're going to move that decimal 8 spaces. If your coefficient ends up where it doesn't have a decimal, that means the decimal is all the way on the right, on the end of the number. Okay, so we're going to move 8 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there. Your decimal is now here rather than here. And you're going to fill these spaces in with zeros. Okay, so I'll put a 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And maybe clean up your answer without the decimal where it used to be, with all these zeros. 1. I don't think I moved this enough. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think I moved it enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Supposed to be moving it 8 times. Okay, so now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then just go ahead and put the commas in there. Okay, so before I go to the next page, where we're going to actually be doing calculations, let me see if anybody has any questions. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I guess before I looked at the chat box, I realized that I needed another 0, so it's in there. Okay, now let's go to the problems where we're actually doing calculations. So we've got a couple problems like this. And so this is just, for me to give you some examples so that you can see how to do multiplication and division and what to do with the exponents. You can let your calculator handle these pieces, because when you do this problem, you're actually going to be multiplying the coefficients. But as far as the power that's on the 10, remember I just taught you a rule that when multiplying, you add the exponents. So I'm adding a -4. By the way, whenever you see a plus followed by a minus or a minus followed by a plus, any combination of these two together is really is the same as just a minus sign. So this really means 18 minus 4. Okay, you can do this part in your calculator as it says at the top of the page. So 5 times 2.9 is 14.5 times 10 to the 14th. Okay, the situation here though is it says perform the indicated operation and write your answer in scientific notation. Now you can try entering the whole thing into your calculator, and it may put it in scientific notation for you, but if you want to adjust this answer, remember scientific notation is when there's only one number to the left of the decimal. Notice that I have 2, but you can fix that very easily. You can take this coefficient of 14.5 and move that decimal one place to the left so that there's only one number to the left of the decimal, as all scientific notation numbers have. But then think about that. If you're going to make this coefficient smaller, then you need to make the exponent bigger so that they counterbalance each other. And by counterbalance, I mean the answer that I'm giving has to be equivalent to what I just got right here. What I write as my final answer, if I was to put this in standard form or this in standard form, I would get the same answer. These need to be equivalent. So that's what I mean by counterbalancing, making sure you're giving an answer that's truly equivalent to the answer that you just got. So when making this smaller, you have to make this bigger. How much bigger? Notice that I only moved one space. Therefore, add 1. The only way you can make this bigger is to add. And how much you're going to add is dependent on how many spaces you moved here in order to get the decimal where it needed to be. So you can put that in your notes. I moved one space, so I added 1 on the exponent. These numbers will match. Okay, so it is the answer in scientific notation rather than just any old kind of notation is 1.45 times 10 to the 15th. Okay, let's move to the next one. Next one is division. Again, you can let your calculator handle the coefficients if you like, but you know that when you're putting division in your calculator, you have to put the top number divided by the bottom number, or you can do that part in your head. I'm sure most of you know 24 divided by 4 is 6. And then to deal with the bases and the exponents, notice those bases are the same. When doing division, you subtract the exponents, and it's always top exponent minus the bottom. So this is 6 times. Just a word about entering this properly, because I do see in this class sometimes not understanding that if both numbers have a negative, those negatives are entered differently. The front negative gets entered with the little negative symbol at the bottom of the calculator, and the second one gets entered using the subtraction sign. So like this. So I would go, I want to put a negative in front of my 9. So notice that there's a little negative symbol down here by the enter. So press that, then the 9, and then to put the -7 in, you just go use the regular minus sign, which is right here above the plus sign, -7. And then enter, and you get -16. Okay, so then this particular one, is it in scientific notation? Well, I've said a couple times as I did these problems that when you don't see a decimal, it is said to be, I'm talking about in this coefficient right here, it is said to be all the way on the right side of a number. So that 6 is the same thing as 6.0. Not that you have to write it like that. I'm just trying to make it obvious to you that this is in scientific notation. See how there's only one number on the left of the decimal? That's all you can have. Not two numbers, not three numbers, only one. This one I had to fix up because when I did my answer originally, there were two numbers to the left. So I had to move this one space, therefore I added one here to make sure that this was in scientific notation. However, this one, the moment that I did the calculations, it was already in scientific notation, so I didn't have to alter that one. Any questions about that? Okay, let's continue. Okay, we're going to do some more examples of this because this seems to be the thing that tricks students a little bit. Okay, so here we go. This is division, so I'm going to actually divide that in my calculator, or you can do it in your head, times 10. Bases are alike, top power minus bottom power. And let's go ahead and make sure these are in scientific notation so we can practice that. So that'll be 5 times 10 to the third. This is already in scientific notation because the 5 that you're seeing out front is the same thing as 5.0. I don't care if you write it as 5.0, but just to clarify that you only have one number on the left of the decimal. So done with that one. This one, you're probably going to want to use your calculator to assist with these coefficients just because they're decimals. But when you press that in, it'll be 9.28 divided by 2.9, which is 3.2. And then we're doing division, so it's subtract those exponents, top exponent minus the bottom exponent. So this is 3.2 times 10 to the negative 9th. This is already in scientific notation because you only have one number to the left of the decimal. So we're done with that one. Next, we come to some additional multiplication examples. We're going to multiply the coefficients. Probably want to use your calculator again. So just 9 times 2.4 is 21.6. And then let's see, when you're doing multiplication, you add the powers. Any combination of plus and minus is really just minus. So this is 10 to the 7 minus 1, 6. Okay, only situation with this is that it is not in scientific notation. It has too many numbers to the left of the decimal. You can only have one. So move this one place, and because you moved this one space, you will, and you're making it smaller. It used to be 21.6, the coefficient. Now it's just 2.16. But since you moved this one space, you will add 1 here. So this is the answer in scientific notation. Number 4, same thing, 2 times 1.8, which is 3.6. Times, I'm multiplying, so therefore I add the powers, negative 7 plus 6. So this is 3.6. And you can put this in your calculator if you need to, negative 7 plus 6, and you'll get 10 to the negative 1. This already is in scientific notation because it only has one number to the left of the decimal. 2 more of what I started you with when I was showing you how to go into scientific notation. Keep moving the decimal until there's only one number on the left, like that. So let's see, I don't see a decimal. That means it's all the way on the right. I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces. So this is going to be 3.6. This number, the original number, was greater than 1, therefore I know my exponent is positive. And how many spaces I moved is the actual exponent. This one, on the other hand, instead of my exponent being positive, it's going to be negative because this number is less than 1. All right. So, and if you want to write that, exponent is positive since the original number was greater than 1. Okay, here I can see the decimal. Again, I want to move the decimal until there's only one non-zero type number to the left of the decimal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. And that exponent is going to be negative since the original number is less than 1. Okay, let's see if there's anything. That's it for section 1.7. Now what I want to do is spend the remaining time. You have approximately 25 minutes left, and there is an activity that will review you and get all the different concepts into you as we get closer and closer to this test. It's on Socrative.com. We've been there before for other activities. So type in your browser. Google Chrome is best for everything. Socrative.com. Socrative.com. I'll try to show you the website. That's all you need to put is Socrative.com. Socrative.com. When you get to Socrative.com, it's going to ask you what is the name of the room that you're trying to enter. What class or whose classroom are you trying to enter? Put class name, which is Zeiss. Zeiss. I'll try to show you my screen. Okay, there's the website. It has my name at the top, so you should be seeing. I can see that many of you are entering the classroom right now. I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. And breakout rooms means you're going to be in groups so that you have the comfort of the other classmates and you have someone to talk to and share ideas with. I would love you to talk. Don't be shy. There's nothing to be shy about. And I'll be popping in on your breakout rooms in a little bit after you've gotten going and everything. Now, you're not going to be able to hear me once you go into the breakout rooms, but when I pop in on your group, then you will be able to hear me. So in the meantime, if you have a question, you do not have to turn in the work for this particular activity, but do practice working them out because come test day, you will need to show me all the steps. I just don't need for you to turn it in a Dropbox. All right, let me go here and see what kind of comments are being made in the chat box. Can you go back up to problem 1 on page 17? Okay. Yeah, if you need to know what website to go to, I believe I'm sharing my screen with you that maybe it doesn't say on there. Yeah, up at the top it says Socrative.com. That's all you have to type in. You don't need all this other stuff. Just Socrative. We do a lot of our classroom activities here. .com. This is the name of the classroom, Zeiss at the top. asking you for an email and a password. Then you probably went in as a teacher. You have to go in under student. There you go, Kayla. Okay, sorry. I had my speaker off. I'm going to put everybody in breakout rooms now. You can switch groups if you like. I did make everybody a presenter at the beginning of the class. So unless you came to class late, you should be a presenter. You should be able to share your screen. Carly, can you hear me? How about Julia? Julia, can you hear me? Cheryl, you're supposed to be doing the problems on Socrative.com. You can access Socrative.com either on your computer or your phone. Yes. Carly, can you hear me in your group?